and welcome. This is Lalit Kumar, and you're watching Best Media Info. 2025 has been a crazy year for the advertising industry. Every morning you wake up, something shifts, something breaks, something new begins. To understand this rapidly evolving landscape, I am heading for a conversation with someone who sits at the cross section of media, marketing, data, technology, and what have you. So join me as I speak to Amitesh Rao, CEO Leo, and try to decode this rapidly evolving landscape. Amitesh, thank you for taking out time to have a chat with us.
My pleasure. Absolutely great to be here.
So we don't have really a set format, but it's just a free-flowing conversation that I'm looking.
Those are the best
forward
kind
to.
of conversations.
So may I know any big plans for today you have?
Hey, today's a good day. It's amazing that even in Delhi, when I woke up, I could see a little bit of blue skies, and that's welcome. I come in and out of this city like twice a week,
Right.
but to see blue skies is not that often.
Unfortunately, that has become a blessing in Delhi now. Yeah. So I just wanted to kind of kickstart this conversation with a very eccentric question. When I say these two words, childhood and ads, what is the first thing that comes to your mind?
Actually, music.
Hmm.
That's where my childhood and advertising intersect. Music has been an essential part of my life, and actually, the advertising that I remember from my childhood is auditory. It's not visual. It's not writing, but it's auditory. And I think music has played such a crucial role in not just advertising, but in culture, of course. And a lot of the times, it's not explicit. It's an implicit role, but it shapes the way we think. It shaped the way my value systems were developed and evolved. And music comes in many forms and many genres, but music also comes with very powerful words. There have been many musicians, and I would be sort of venture to say even advertising writers who, in their music, have shaped forever some of the ways that I think.
Lovely, lovely. How has 2025 shaped Leo so far when it comes to in both business and creative output?
Yeah, the transformation you talked about is at the heart of this conversation. And actually, it's sometimes we get trapped in our little myopic worlds of our daily lives and our family lives and our business and our industry. But transformation is actually a fact of life now. It transcends people, societies, cultures, businesses, sectors. We are in perhaps the most transformational age of, I would be bold enough to say, of human civilization. And there have been several transformational ages, but this is, I don't even know if we fully understand the extent of transformation we are going through. And oftentimes the narrative is dominated by AI, but I think transformation is coming in many shapes and forms. It's coming across engineering, biotechnology, AI, and even in our social and cultural fabric. We are in a transformative era.
Yes.
And that is exciting. That is exciting. I think some of that transformation is, up to us to embrace. Some of it is not governed by us, and we are kind of riding the wave as people and as businesses. I think the best thing we can do is positively embrace the transformation, engineer and drive it where we can, and constructively use it to our purposes where we can't. So I think from a Leo perspective as well, the principles are the same. Transformation is on top of same sound fundamentals. I don't think for people or for humanity or for our business, the fundamentals have changed. At the heart of it, Leo continues to be a creative solutions company that is finding ways to use the power of creativity to influence change. change for a person, change for a community, change for a planet, and of course, change for the client's businesses we work on. Creativity is a force for engineering change and transformation. What the new thing that the world talks about, and Leo has been on this journey not just for 25 but for several years now, is how does this new force of technology fuel this power of creativity to transform? And 25 perhaps is a year where the momentum of that fueling has really gone up. So the fundamentals remain same. I think the layers we are adding on top are making us more powerful in our ability to engineer change.
I noticed a lot of adjectives that you used around transformation. So I think this is the right time to ask you this question. If you had to summarize the past 12 months in 3 words for Leo, what would those be in the following categories? First is growth,
New ventures, new vistas,
culture,
same great talent,
creative ambition.
be the best in the world.
Lovely. So now I feel like when we talk about agencies, when we talk about names as such, Leo, you guys are being defined by a lot of things, but one of the most crucial and the center part of it are the clients, of course, because that's how your work is shaped. Has the agency seen a shift in the clients or the mandates coming from those clients in the past 12 months? Are they more awarding? Are they more demanding? In that sense, what is the shift been like?
See, the fundamental nature of client relationships at Leo, we have very enduring client relationships, and we have very strong client relationships that have built and nurtured and grown over time. And we've added several new client relationships this year as well to the portfolio. I think where the economy is, where the business sector is, where consumer demand is, it's been a challenging year for everyone. Certainly, the first half of the year was very challenging, and then we started seeing some upswings and upturns in the sentiment. But the challenge is certainly being felt across not just our business but all our clients' businesses. How do you partner with a client when the nature of the challenge gets more acute and sharp? And that, I think, is where we are seeing perhaps some change this year. The fundamentals of what we are here and why we exist for our clients and why we are partners for our clients have not changed. You are here to grow business. You are here to build brands. You are here to influence people and change. But the number of variables, apart from the challenging environment, number of variables in change in media formats, in where consumers are, in the ability to hold attention, these are all become more acute this year. They're not new news. We've been talking about it for a while now, but they've become sharper and more acute this year. In that context, if there's one word that I think defines any change in the texture of relationships, it is in this word called experimentation. I think both clients and agencies are having to try new things, are having to walk paths that have not been walked before, are having to understand methods, processes, mediums, and even manifestations that haven't been a part of the lexicon in the past. And in that context, great relationships always help, because when you're both trying something and you recognize that, hey, I'm pushing the boundaries here. I'm trying to go down, to walk a journey that there is no patented way of doing. 100 people haven't done this before, and I just need to know what to do. I'm building the road as I walk. That requires great trust. It requires great chemistry. It requires faith and belief in each other's capabilities. And that's what I think the best relationships are now, and will continue to be in the foreseeable future as well.
It's a very interesting area that you touched upon, which is experimentation. And I totally agree with the times changing and how fast and rapidly it is evolving. I think experimentation is the way to go. But agency client relationships, as you talked about, those relationships that have deep roots and has a long history, somewhere the experimentation value kind of decreases because you are in a set module. Now, my question to you is, when you talk about experimentation that your clients are ready to do, or let's say they are experimentation friendly, is this a new generation altogether of clients, or are you seeing these experimentation friendly nuances with existing clients as well?
Absolutely, across the board. This is no longer a function of a startup trying to do something new. The business environment, the media climate, our consumers' expectations, and the way we reach consumers, it demands it. It demands us to do things differently from the way we have been doing before. And therefore, it doesn't matter what the size and scale of your business is. It doesn't matter what sector you're in, and it doesn't matter whether you're a 150-year-old company or a 1.5-month-old company. That is an absolute essential. You cannot, and all our businesses understand this, and we understand this. You cannot continue doing what you have been doing in the past and expect success. Some of the fundamentals that have made you successful in the past must be retained. I mean, this is not a function of throwing the baby out with the bathwater and either becoming someone else or letting go of core value systems, core business processes, core distribution mechanisms. Those fundamentals, they remain. But there are layers sitting on top of it which allow you to do a lot more with those things. And if you're not playing with those layers, you're not getting far. I think the truth of it is that there are many people who, failure is a part of this as well. We understand that, right? When you're experimenting, then you're going to do things right, and you're going to learn from doing things that are not going right. And that again is something we are seeing across businesses, across sectors, and across advertising agencies as well.
So with experimentations also come failure.
Yes.
But also evolution. When we speak about evolution, Amitesh, Leo's philosophy or the creative drive was humankind. Now that we have entered an era of experimentation, how has humankind philosophy evolved? Has it evolved into something new in the era of 2025, or are you sticking to the core principles of that philosophy?
The philosophy is absolutely unchanged. At its heart, the ability for creativity to influence humanity at scale and businesses at scale, which is what humankind is, absolutely is unchanged. If there is something that's changed, it's the way in which we do it. Is changing is a better word than change, right?
Yeah.
So we talk about HI into AI, right? So human intelligence into artificial intelligence, right? You are increasingly finding a lot of power, a lot of capability, and a lot of tools that help you amplify the change that you can influence. Using artificial intelligence, using data, using technologies. So how you get there? You're finding more ways and newer ways and more powerful ways to do it, but you're still getting there. That's not changing.
Can we zoom in? Like you mentioned AI, and of course, it's the biggest elephant in the room. You cannot have a conversation without AI. How are you seeing AI and automation reshape your creative work? Because now with the AI's efficiency, there are clients which are expecting faster work, more targeted work, more personalized work. So, do you see it as a challenge? And if so, what exactly makes you, take a mandate and then just experiment with it?
I see it as an incredible opportunity. There are challenges in embracing that opportunity, but fundamentally, I think it's an incredible opportunity for people, for businesses, and certainly for the creative industry. Because at its heart, AI does two things for us, right? One, it frees us up to use human imagination and human talent and things that technology has not yet learned how to replace. Who knows in 20 years whether it does or not, but it certainly hasn't today. But it allows us as people who, as a talent business, to use our talent and to free up our minds to use our talent much more effectively and focus on those things a lot more than perhaps we could have in the past. And therefore, efficiency that AI brings in is only a means to an end for me. It's not an end in itself. AI is still my slave. It is not my master.
Okay.
My master is still my mind. It is still my, and when I say my, I mean our, as Leo, as an industry, as talented people, our master is still our minds. But AI harnessed to fuel that is incredible and it's beautiful. It really gives us a lot of power. That's how I see AI.
Okay. Because when you talk about AI, there are a lot of reservations people have because not a very credible amount of data is coming out of organizations that have banked, very profusely on AI. The returns are very meek. So, how does a creative industry tackles all this? Because now it's not just creativity that is expected out of you; it is also the business outcomes and outputs. How are you charting that trajectory?
Why has that changed? It is never uh, for our clients, for Leo, and I would argue for anyone in the creative business. It has never been about creativity as an end in itself.
Hmm.
If it's not resulting in an outcome and in a business outcome, it is meaningless. We're not in a museum. We're not creating art for the sake of art.
Right.
We are using creativity as something that changes and builds business. That hasn't changed, right? So to in that sense, AI and all of this stuff is it's not changing the rules of the game, or it's not changing the our raison d'etre. Why do we exist? For exactly that. It's just giving us another way to do it, and a very powerful way to do it.
Coming to the outcomes, as you said that creativity, if not churning outcomes, then it's not really, delivering what it's supposed to. For Leo, what categories have been, giving you the biggest growth this year?
Well, we found growth across a lot of categories. I think one of the key drivers of if you look at new business growth, we're now playing on the global stage. So for us, growth is not, I don't want to categorize it as sectoral. Yes, some sectors are more bullish than others. Yes, some sectors have had a more, I would say, muted first half of the year, and that defines our growth as well. But the big growth story for us has come in our ability to manage businesses across other markets as well.
Which are?
Many markets. So we now handle some brands on a global stage. We do projects with multiple markets: Mexico, China, Middle East, Vietnam. I think what happened is Leo has been on a fantastic growth path and has had great momentum over the last few years. Has been recognized at many global platforms, and we started converting that into business. So our ability to deliver world class work that does what we have been doing in India for other markets and for brands that operate at a global stage is an exciting new field. And I'm personally, I'm very excited about it because you look at Indian talent, you look at, see, India's on the world map. Indians run some of the biggest tech companies, biggest CPG companies in the world, right? We have the best minds. But when it comes to the creative industries, those minds have not, those minds are there. We are very good. We are very, very good. We're perhaps amongst the best in the world. But we haven't really gone out there. We haven't put ourselves out there. And I think Leo is kind of at the vanguard of that, which is super exciting for me.
All right. And any uptick that you've seen in regional first briefs that you're getting? Because now everybody's trying to embrace Bharat.
Yeah, it's an interesting question. And I have been seeing this uptake not only this year.
Okay.
I have been seeing in many categories, and we see it most acutely in CPG. Over the last, I would say, 5 to 6 years, increasingly clients are finding that markets have to be cracked at a more granular level. And therefore, we are seeing more specific initiatives, not just at a marketing level, but even at a distribution and a product creation level that are addressed to to specific cultures, specific geographies, specific languages. What makes it interesting is that brands exist at a national scale or at a global scale. Brands don't exist only at a regional scale, right? So the challenge for a big brand, the meaning system of a brand has to unify. That's why big brands are successful, because they are able to unify. They're able to find something that stitches together meaning across cultures, across geographies, across languages, across belief systems, something that unifies. That's what defines the biggest brands in the world. Yet, those that meaning system has to be sometimes expressed, and increasingly so in the world that we now are seeing at a more hyper local level. So it's kind of a very fascinating and interesting challenge, and yes, we have been seeing more and more of that. The What's also changing is our ability to both media target and to create content which is hyper local, which earlier was hard to do. 10 years ago, all you could play with was a master asset called a TVC, and then you can't produce 15 TVCs. Right. Now you can. Now you can create content. You have creators, you have influence, you have AI generated assets, you have social, and you have television, which itself production costs have rationalized. So your ability to create assets at a local level has gone up.
Amitesh, doesn't that impact recall and placement? I mean, you must know, we don't have ads that we now remember, the jingles that we used to sing. And that is for the same reason, because it is not one or two TVCs that are coming to us, but thousands of them. How do you balance that? I mean, with targeting, with fragmentation, and with personalization, the impact and recall gets a blow.
It depends on what you define it as. 20 years ago, all of us knew a brand line, a baseline.
Yes.
Right? Whether that came through an ad or a jingle or a print or whatever it was, that defined it. And there were only so many big pieces of work, and you remember them for the rest of your life. We are not even chasing that anymore. We don't.
What are we chasing?
We are chasing meaning.
Okay.
Right? It doesn't matter to me whether you are engaging with my brand in Telugu or Bengali. It doesn't matter to me whether you are engaging with my brand in a 30-second format or in a 1.5-second scroll. It doesn't matter to me whether you're engaging with my brand purely because you're transacting with it on an e-commerce or a quick commerce platform, or you are walking into a store and spending 1 hour experiencing it there. These are all formats. The best brands are those that stitch a meaning. Recall comes from meaning, not from words.
Okay.
In today's world, you cannot expect consumers to resonate with a brand, to remember it, to feel for it, to buy into it, not only its product but into it, without understanding what its meaning is. So the best work brands are doing is work that can find a way to translate meaning through formats and not through one baseline. That's what has changed. Fundamentally, success of a brand is being defined by that.
I mean, I somewhere heard this theory, and I would like to get your opinion on it. The theory says that the more personalized you become in targeting people with your ads, the less creative it has to be. Because when it comes to a very creative output that was meant to be for a unified global or a message on a larger scale, as you said, that brands that have a unified message all across are actually successful. So now in a fragmented world, when we are going directly to a consumer and targeting ads which are personal to their likings, creativity takes a toll. How do you
I
see this?
I violently disagree.
Okay.
Because look, firstly, we have to understand that, like we were talking about earlier, that we are learning this.
Right.
I don't think there's just a formula already that exists for it, right? A lot of it, when you talk personalization, when you talk reach at scale, a lot of it is tech driven, and we are still. I think we've understood the maths and the science of those platforms, and therefore we know how to make them deliver from an ROI perspective,
Right.
from a performance perspective, we've learned those things faster. But we are learning also how to use those to also create meaning, which is another way of saying creativity. So I would disagree if you say there is no that creativity itself does not have a role when it comes to creating assets at scale or personalized comms. It does. Uh, it manifests differently, and therefore agency ecosystems, the kind of people working and the kind of talent working on brands, how our training and development systems are evolving that talent. These are all learning how to do that, but it's very much doable. We see good examples of it sometimes we don't. Sometimes we see brands that are completely scattered and fragmented in their messaging because they're only focusing on performance and ROI. I mean, globally, I think we've seen brands. Nike has been through its journey.
Right.
Yeah, a celebrated meaning with brand, a celebrated brand with meaning, focused very much more certainly on performance, swinging the pendulum back. It's an evolution and it's a process. But in principle, these two are not mutually exclusive.
So, is it safe to say, Amitesh, that now slowly we are? I mean, advertising was supposed to be, impactful, something that leaves an imprint on your brain. Should we say that we have switched from the business of impact to now the business of reach? Because it is easy to reach a consumer rather than have an impactful message that just, you know, reaches the minds of them.
Of course not. And this is not, again, I don't see this conversation as about now or 10 years back or 20 years back. This is a fundamental principle. Reach in itself is necessary but not sufficient. It's what you're reaching people with
Right.
that really drives impact.
Yes.
Anybody can drive reach
That's
with
a
money.
well put thought, by the way. Yeah.
Anybody can drive reach with money. You can buy GRPs, you can buy impact platforms, and everybody will hear you. But what are they hearing you say? What are they liking about you? What are they relating to you on? Without that, reach is irrelevant, right?
Let's talk about they. According to you, what are the three shifts in consumer behavior that you think have been the most disruptive this year?
Um, uh, Attention economy, easily the top shift. I think it's not only this year, but it's accelerated this year.
Yeah.
We're seeing maybe 700, 800, 1,000 pieces of content a day, right? We're spending a second and a half on one piece of content. That's what all of us do. I mean, let's not talk about consumers as some amorphous mass. That it's what people do. It's what you and I do, right? Doom scrolling is real.
It is.
Yeah. So the quantum of fragmentation of attention is humongous, and we are learning how to live as brands, how to live in that economy. I think but there is a flip side to it as well, and I believe we're going to continue seeing that grow as people. And again, I use the word people and not consumers. As people adopt more and more of this content-driven lifestyle, I think the need for real meaning, for authenticity, for purpose is also very much a part of what people are looking for. And I think it's underrated. I think in our race to understand fragmentation and attention deficit and how to exist in that world, in our race to drive performance and hyper personalization and all of these things which are fascinating and exciting, the pendulum will also start swinging back to say, okay, there is these human beings who are our consumers. They also want rootedness, they want authenticity, they want purpose, they want meaning. That is very much a part of their life. And guess what? Brands are very well placed to give them that. As much as a family structure gives you purpose and meaning, or religion gives you purpose and meaning, or literature gives you purpose and meaning, so do brands.
Okay.
And I think we are seeing signs of of that as well. And guess what? A lot of that is actually Gen Z. This generation we talk about as they have no loyalty, and actually not true.
Hmm.
Not true at all. I think they seek authenticity a lot as well. So that's the second big thing that I feel brands need to be cognizant when it comes to consumers on. And I think there is the third thing I'd say is there is a need to belong. It's a human need. Uh, Again, given the transformational nature of the world we live in, you no longer have the old tenets of belonging that come to you easily, which is, I belong to a neighborhood. I belong to a college. There are cultures now. You belong to subcultures,
Right.
and multiple subcultures. So how you work with a human being and therefore a consumer's need to belong to something is also an interesting and fascinating area that I think brands should be investigating a lot more of.
When you talk about commercial growth, the industries, I mean, there are multiple, opportunities. I get it. But now that you see with the fragmented world, the industry is also getting fragmented. And when I talk about fragmented, you talk about in-house teams, you talk about platform-driven media, you talk about consultancies. So how is that affecting, I would not say affecting, but changing your way of functioning around your industry? Because brands now have in-house creative teams as well. Consultancies is one thing that we will discuss in length in the next 5 minutes. So how do you see that thing transforming the way you work?
I think it just gives us more focus.
Hmm.
In some ways, I welcome it. It doesn't make the business environment more challenging for us? It does, because now there are multiple capabilities, multiple delivery systems for those capabilities.
Yeah.
Clients experimenting with different ways of doing the same thing. So it makes it more challenging. But the flip side of it is it gives us a lot more focus on what are we really good at. And I believe creative agencies were also doing stuff that were not necessarily their absolute core strengths. And the way the industry is evolving, it's making us focus on what we are absolutely brilliant at. And what are we absolutely brilliant at? We are absolutely brilliant at being talented minds who have great creative ideas that, again, I come back to that changes something. That you can't take away from us. We're the best at it.
How do you see brands having their own in-house creative team and churning out work?
I think it's a tough model for client brands to pursue. It is working in parts, particularly when you talk about emerging sector companies, perhaps. It's not a new model, by the way. I've seen companies deploy this with varying degrees of success for the last 2 decades.
I mean, Lintas was a product of such a team.
Yeah, and there continue to be, even today, large global organizations who have in-house creative teams that are doing quite good stuff as well. But here's the thing, fundamentally, creativity is about perspective. One of the biggest reasons why a creative company like Leo adds value to a client's business is because we come with different perspective. That is essential, and clients know that. Some businesses, some sectors, perhaps because of the need of agility or efficiency or control, have been increasingly working with in-house creative teams, but they're still not. I don't think anyone's patented a way for an in-house creative model to bring external perspective. So it's being deployed with varying degrees of success. I've also seen client organizations where it's been tried and shelved in 24 months because it's not working at all. Right. There are talent challenges, there are retention challenges, there are a lot of issues. Now there with AI and tech, there are other models emerging for in-house creative deployments that are starting to work as well, but for a certain kind of work and a certain kind of creativity,
Which is?
which is more formulaic. Let me put it that way.
Okay.
Where efficiency is more important than thought. Some of those models, and it's still very early days, so I'm also conjecturing a little bit here. I feel they have a better chance of succeeding.
They, as in people who are experimenting with this formula. Okay. Coming to what you said and building on to it, that now with the advent of AI and creativity, I think various models are emerging, and in-house creative teams is one of them. Another thing that I feel is that now that creativity and planning and buying also is being handled by AI, agencies are now limited to offer human intelligence only. And this is a trend that I have been seeing, and I recently wrote about it as well, that how agencies are pivoting towards a consultancy model, right? And it is true for both media and creative. Now, when this happens, I was speaking to one of the agency heads, and the person told me that this is a natural evolution and the next step for the creative and media agencies. That consultancy is the new area where we can have our footing there. How do you see that? I mean, do you find any metal in this? That consultancy is the natural pivot for you now that AI is handling creativity, planning, buying, targeting, and whatnot?
Look, it's not a black and white question. Firstly, AI is not handling creativity. Creativity is using AI.
Okay.
Right? So there's a fundamental difference. Does a creative business that does not embrace the power of data and technology and AI have a reason to exist? No. It cannot exist. If there are creative agencies that are not pivoting strongly enough to harness technology to drive creativity, then they're going to either they're dead or they're going to die any day. Your point about consulting, look, the other conversation, the flip side of what you're saying, look at what's happening with consulting companies.
Yeah, they're trying to peek into the area that we.
Not just that. Forget that.
into.
That, of course, that's also not new news anymore. What's new news with consulting companies today, this year, if you're talking 2025? They seem to be facing an existential crisis.
Okay.
I don't think AI is an existential crisis for creative companies. I think it's an existential crisis for consulting companies.
Okay.
Right? And we're seeing that. We are seeing much more than in the media and the creative business. We're seeing in the pure consulting, audit, those businesses which are more structured,
Right.
where imagination and creativity is of less value, and rigor and science and structure is of more value. We are seeing more recruitment freezes. We are seeing no increments. We are seeing layoffs. We are seeing downsizing. We are seeing scrutiny from clients, where AI is being deployed on consulting projects and assignments. We are seeing commercial devaluing of the consulting product. That industry is going through a little bit more of a challenge than our business. So I don't even think we should be pivoting there. I believe that there may be some commercially, we are seeing some shifts in the model. From where some clients are feeling the need for a consulting model which is more project assignment based. Here's a problem, solve this for me, you move on, I move on. Some of those models we are seeing work out. Yeah, so to that extent there may be some, I acknowledge a shift and change, but I don't think our business is going to or should pivot to the model of a consulting business. No.
Right. I mean, well, of course, like not the traditional consulting, but the consulting that is true to the domain that we are in right now, right? Creativity or planning, right? And advisory and consultancy are the new game plans for agencies, is what I heard. But I agree. I think the
Sorry.
other side,
It's not the new game plan.
right.
I apologize for interrupting you,
No,
but
no, for sure.
it kind of helps me complete my thought as well. The best partnerships we have with our clients are also advisory and consulting in nature. We do not sit here to say, hey, you need an ad, I'll make you an ad. That's not success. That's not a creative partner. Creative talent is critical to us, but if you look in Leo, you will find it hard sometimes to say, is this a creative person, or is this a strategy person, or is this a business person? Because we think in a more rounded way.
Okay.
You can walk around the floor and catch a creative guy and have a very strategic conversation with him. You can catch a planner and have a very creative conversation with her. And clients see that in our DNA.
Okay.
So it is not new. If you're not, how do you partner your client's business growth if you're not participating in their business? Which is another way of saying, are you an advisor and are you a consultant?
Right.
I think that's essential anyway.
That's an interesting take to what I was thinking. There's one little thing that I want to touch upon. You said that creativity that is not embracing data should not exist in this era. I have a question for you, Amitesh. Does data give you predictability more, or does data allow you to be bold more?
It's a great question. And I think the danger of the flip side and the risk of embracing data-driven creativity is that you can very easily fall off the other side of this thin line into a sea of sameness, and we see that with content a lot, right? A lot of the algorithms also do that. They fuel a certain kind of content, and the more you see of that, the more it will feed you, and therefore the creator is creating more of that. So it's kind of a chamber. It's a circle, right?
Yeah.
So therefore, it is important for the human mind to work with the data. That perspective is important.
Do you feel in today's time it takes us a shorter time to build brands, or does it take a longer time to build brands now?
It takes a much shorter time to go to market.
Okay. But again, building a brand is a whole game altogether.
Is a whole new ball game, and I think I worry when I see the meteoric rise of new brands and the equally meteoric fall.
Yeah.
Which we are seeing around us.
Yeah.
Right. Brands that are absolutely unknown, and in 2 months the whole world knows about them, and in 18 months you're wondering if they exist.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's an old world value which I still think is important to us. Consistency, endurance, resilience, holding meaning, absolutely essential. Even more today than before. Go to market is like this now.
Yeah.
You got to be fast, you got to be agile, you got to move quickly, you got to change quickly. These things are essential because that's the world we live in. But you have to be enduring too. Otherwise your business isn't going to survive.
So what is it then? I mean, with such data pools that we have, and with such a super intelligence power that we have, I mean, as per layman view, shouldn't it be easier to build brands now? But we see that brands fall the moment they rise.
Yeah, because if you believe that a brand will be built on a trend, I'm sorry, my friend, you're in for a bit of a rude shock.
Right.
Brands are not episodic.
True that. Yes.
They are franchises. Brands are not, one episode of a web series. Brands are 200 seasons of a web series. That makes a brand.
So would you call that these new age brands are experimenting a lot, and this is the reason why they fall out very quickly?
I think that some of them that are falling out very quickly are riding short-term big waves. They're riding something that's big in the world today, and guess what? Tomorrow it's not big in the world, and then they suddenly don't have a reason to exist anymore. So that intrinsic fundamental of a successful brand has not changed, and I don't think it ever will. A brand has to have a reason to exist in your life at a more fun, meaning level, at a human level, in my heart, not just because it looks nice and right now it looks nice and I want to engage with it, and tomorrow something else looks nice, so I'll go engage with that. Brands have to be about that.
You know who else is doing this? That something else looks like I should go there? Our marketeers. CMOs are not true to their brands anymore. I mean, I don't think CMOs stick to a particular brand for more than 3 years now. And we have seen the epitome of it in the form of fractional CMOs. How do you see fractional CMOs? What's your take on it?
I think they have a role to play for sure.
Okay.
But again, it depends on the stage of evolution of the business. It depends on the scale of the business. The role of
and mind you, we're still talking in the category of the brand building part.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I think that the life cycle, gestation period, and life cycle of business itself is also now compressed, right? We see businesses reaching billion-dollar valuations much faster than we did 10 years ago, 20 years ago, forget 50 years ago. And when you look at the pace at which businesses are evolving, different constituencies and different parts of that business play more important roles at different points of time. Marketing per se, there is a period of time in the evolution of a business where a fractional CMO kind of role is great. Okay. Actually, it does a lot of good because you don't necessarily need to invest too heavily in a consistent marketing ecosystem at a certain stage of evolution. At a certain stage, you will find your business plateauing without that. But at some stages, it's not. So the model works depending on the sector, the stage of evolution of the business, the investment appetite of the business.
What are those sectors where fractional CMOs are the most apt fit?
A whole bunch of them. I mean, I would say D2C is great.
Okay.
Yeah. I would say it's actually stage of evolution more than a sector, right? Emerging sectors typically are good. I also think there are certain legacy companies that are having to transform from very traditional models, perhaps family-run companies. Right. Where in the process of transformation, a fractional CMO role could accelerate that transformation, could lay the guardrails down, could set some direction. So it's not one line answer, but is there a role for a fractional CMO model? In some cases, yes.
Okay. From fractions, let's come to consolidations, because that's another buzzword that we're seeing. I mean, it started with you guys, the year 2025, and now we are at the end of 2025 and we see Omnicom and IPG happening. It's becoming a reality. How do you see consolidations affecting the various verticals of your business? There are client expectations, there's creativity, there's pricing, there's agility, and whatnot. So how do you see all of this getting affected when consolidation happens?
On a little bit, perhaps more philosophical note.
Okay.
I do welcome this as well. It creates short-term instability for the industry. And I'm not speaking for either the companies getting consolidated or acquired or for us, but for if you look from a little bit larger perspective, I welcome it for two reasons. I think once you get through the initial instability and the pains of the industry settling down through this phase, it makes us stronger as an industry, as a business. And for us, I think it's we welcome having strong competition. I don't believe that not having competition is a formula for success. I don't think so. I don't think monopolistic or even duopolistic structures are successful in industry anymore.
Right.
Perhaps at some very rarefied deep state level that may be true, but not in the world of business in general. I think having an industry that's strong is in our interest as well.
But when I use the word concentration, that was sorry. When I use the word consolidation, that was the part I was actually focusing on. To which you said that people buying people, brands getting folded, right? When these consolidations happen, they're bound to. Yes, you were right that there's some commotion, there's some instability at the start of it. In the long run, how do you see these affecting or getting? Engaging with client portfolios, with pricing, with creativity. Because right now, currently, that you see Omnicom IBG merger, the brands that folded were the creative brands. The media brands just kind of went from this umbrella under this umbrella. But the creative brands were the brands that got folded.
It's not for me to speak of our competitors and their philosophies and their ethos. I'm sure they know what they're doing and why they're doing it. Sure they do. Someone has a game plan.
Okay.
But look, it's like this. There's going to be some uncertainty and instability on the back of that. It's unavoidable. Right. Clients are going to face that. Clients are going to go through a period where there is some nervousness, there is some watching out, because eventually they expect, clients not only expect talent and growth, they also expect stability from partnerships.
They do. Yeah.
So that's bound to happen, but thankfully that's not my problem. We're in an agency that has held its cultural ethos and its commercial integrity for many decades. We're in a holding company that began its transformation well before any other holding company. It's the models, whether it's the country model or the technology adoption model that Publicis embarked on, several was very years ahead of its competitors. And we are in a good, stable, healthy place. So we have to look at ourselves, and I guess they'll look at themselves. So.
Okay. Well, you talked about the coming decade, so I would definitely ask you this. If you want to define the next era for Leo under your leadership, what would it stand for?
I think it's, we continue to be proud and build on our core, which is our ability to create an environment for incredibly talented creative and strategy people to produce world-changing work. What we do is increasing, and this year has been a great year for us from that perspective. Embrace and give the ecosystem, our ecosystem, ways to amplify that. And I think the bringing together of holding what is essential to you, to your belief system, to your methods, to the work that you think is going to be great, with the new, and bringing the new in along with what is essential, and not throwing the baby out with the bathwater, not suddenly trying to be something you're not. This is what I'm fantastic and great at, but I'm also going to add layers to make this greatness even bigger, is the biggest thing that we have to do. But we're also really excited about it because it gives us some new stuff. It keeps our, we are a very high energy bunch of people, and we like new things. We like embracing new things. So we're dealing with this actually with a great degree of anticipation and excitement, and not fear and trepidation and negativity.
So this was Amitesh Rao on what it takes to understand and lead this ever-evolving trajectory of the ad industry. If you found it insightful, because I surely did, if you liked the conversation, do follow Best Media Info, because we bring you facts, not fluff.